Hi, it's Darnell with Whale and Recipes. One thing I like to do with some of these larger cookers is to see if they can cook a two-layer cake easily. Because we know with a conventional oven, if you've got a two-layer cake and you're using two pans, you can easily fit them in a conventional oven at the same time and cook up your cake both layers with no problem. With these smaller countertop cookers, sometimes that can be a little bit more of a challenge. Some may do better than others in that regard. But we're going to try with the Ninja Foodi XL Pro Air Fry Oven to see how it does with a two-layer box cake right now. Alright, so let's go over the ingredients. I've got a sugar-free Pillsbury cake here. This is a yellow, classic yellow cake. And they usually turn out just like a regular cake. They're just sugar-free, and it's your choice of what you want to use or what you like. I've also got some sugar-free frosting here. We'll get into this, of course, later after the cake is all baked up, so I'll set that aside for now. Got some cooking spray I'll be lining these two cake pans with. I've got 1 cup of water per the instructions, a half a cup of oil per the instructions, and 3 large eggs. So we'll start out by just lining the cake pans with the cooking spray. So just spray a good amount of cooking spray in these pans here. And so spray them up. There we go. We got the cake pans sprayed up. And now I'm going to just go ahead and get my cake mix out. Drop that off into the large bowl I've got here for mixing things up into. So let's get that open. And just to pour in my cake mix on it. Alrighty there. And for the eggs, I'm just going to beat those so that they're nicely mixed before going into the mix, because they just seem to kind of blend with everything a little better when they were already mixed up in advance. So just stirring my eggs up a little bit, whisking them here. Alright, now I've got my eggs whisked up there. So now I'm going to pour in my water into the mix and my oil. This is canola oil I'm using here. That doesn't disturb the flavor of things. Some other oils, like if you try to use extra virgin olive oil in a cake, it's going to alter the flavor a bit. So I've also got a mixer blender mixer to mix things up. So get my eggs in and mixing. Alright, so I've got things all blended up. You're supposed to use the mixer to blend all those ingredients for about 2 minutes on medium. So got it all blended. Now I'm going to put half in one pan, half in the other. Some folks will basically pour them into like a scale away and measure the difference or use other techniques. I am one, I just eyeball it and I'm happy with that. So I don't go through any extra effort of making sure one has more than the other. And so I always end up with one having more than the other, and I'm good with that. But just pour them on in here. Alright, now that I've got the cake batter into both pans, I've got racks in the Ninja Foodi XL Pro Air Fry Oven on rack levels 1 and 3. That's what you're supposed to do when you're doing a 2-layer bake. And so I'm going to put that one down on layer 1, level 1, and this one on level 3. And so I'm going to close up with that and turn the Ninja Foodi on. And you're supposed to preheat a traditional oven. And what I have found, one thing I have found when using these countertop cookers that I'm going to do here, I'm going to put these kind of off center of each other. It seems like if like they're both right center one and the other. With most cookers, they don't rise, like the one on the bottom doesn't necessarily rise as well because of the airflow and heat flow, I guess, not necessarily reaching it as well. So I am going to have them off center. I guess if the Ninja Foodi does well with them being centered, we won't know, but I've just found from experience, I just put them off center, and that kind of sometimes helps with the heat flow. But I'm going to change over to the bake function here, and we're supposed to do a temperature of 425 degrees Fahrenheit. You're supposed to preheat, but you know this Ninja Foodi does a quick heat, preheat, and it doesn't get near the temp anyway, so I'm just going to, you know, start things out with it already in there, you know, preheat and all. And so you're supposed to do, like, for 9-inch cake pans, like 29 to 33 minutes. So I'm doing 33 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit on bake. I'm going to hit start. And I'm just going to let it cook like that. And I'll bring you on back. Alright, so these have been in there baking for 29 minutes now. You can see exactly how I have them configured. This one on this side a little more to the back. This one on this side up top's a little more to the front. And in 29 minutes, you can see that things have baked apparently pretty well. So I'm going to open up now at 29 minutes, which is the low end in a conventional oven. And we're going to just put a knife in here. The knife comes out clean. So I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to check the one on the lower level, the same check. Let's see. The knife comes out clean there. It's a clean knife. So I'm just going to set them both aside, give them both a good amount of time to basically cool off, and then I will basically start doing the icing and all, but I'll bring it back when they're cooled down. Alright, so these cakes have had time to cool, and so I'm just going to flip one over onto the cake holder there. And so there's one, and I'm just going to go ahead and ice it up. Alright, so we got one done, and so now I'm going to go ahead and throw this other one on top and try and ice it up also. So that over there like that. Just try and maybe fit it down on there right a little bit, just so it's nicely stacked there. Got a little breakage there, but it's okay. It feels very moist. It feels super moist on top. So I'm having a little bit of a dilemma icing the top, because as I was icing it, it kind of, so moist, it just kind of came apart on the top as I was icing over it. So, you know, things finished off very moist, but at the same time, so moist, you know, it's cooked all the way through. It's just so moist that my icing, as I slide the knife over it, just kind of picks everything up and just kind of all goes together in there. So it just kind of lifts up and comes apart. So didn't do the best of icing job with this one for sure, but at the same time it is a super moist cake, so I think it's going to taste good. It's just not the most just visually stunning cake. I'm just trying to borrow some icing from another part, but I think it's you know, I'd probably need another whole container, not a whole container, but a good bit more extra icing. I've already depleted my icing, so I need a good bit more to try and, you know, fill that in. So probably best to just kind of quit at this point with what I have and live with what I've got than try and do any more to it. But as you can see, the Ninja Foodi makes a super moist cake. It does cook both layers, and you know, I could have let it cook longer, but I didn't want it to get too brown and hard. So this is basically the completed cake. It's not the most pretty cake because of the icing situation, but looks like we can probably drop a little more icing down right there to pretty that up just a little, just a touch there. But there we go. That's our completed cake. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can get a little more icing off there. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can cut a slice off of here. I'm just going to get a little bowl here, and I guess I'll try and get a piece out of here. I know this was not a good icing job at all. I do apologize, but the goal here is to show really what the cooker can do, not what I can do as far as my ability to ice a cake. Maybe I should have let it maybe set a little longer to get a little, maybe it would have got a little firmer. But I mean, the Foodi, I don't know. I mean, it's just, it makes stuff so moist. It's like, I guess in this case, it's like super moist. I could have cooked it longer, I guess. And that's what we have. That's what we have for a cake. Maybe I might be able to reuse some of this icing that came off during the cut to try and get something on the top of the cake there. Alright, so I just do some on the top there, but not my prettiest work at all, for sure. But we're going to go ahead and try and taste test this. Alright, so let's see how it tastes. Ooh. Wow, this is a messy one. It tastes great. I mean, it's super soft and moist. It's fantastic. I mean, I did a terrible job icing, but it did a great job cooking. And I would not have cooked that longer. I don't want it I don't want it firmer. I liked it real nice and moist like that. I'd, cook all my cakes just like that and deal with my terrible icing skills, or maybe try and get some help with icing or something. But it does a great job baking there. I mean, 2-layer cake, cook both layers at the same time. 29 minutes, add that minute 30 seconds preheat, that's like 30.5 minutes, and you don't have to even wait for that whole preheat thing. I mean, that's a great job for a countertop cooker. And you saw that things were able to go on 2 levels without anything touching or anything like that. I've used some countertop cookers where you've got things on 2 layers, and one layer of cake might, just because it grows a little bit, might go into like the underside of the other one. I mean, it can be a hassle sometimes with these countertop cookers cooking a 2-layer cake. But this one does a great job, makes it nice and easy. I've even used countertop cookers where you gotta cook 1 layer at a time, But this one, it does a great job, so I am impressed and pleased with it. Not pleased with my icing skills, but I am pleased with the cake. So it's all good over here. And with all that said, I will say that in the video description there is a referral link for the cooker, other ways to help the channel. Also, you can find plenty of recipes for this cooker and others on my blog at superwaveovenrecipes.com. And if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and good eating.